The detective said missing kids usually come home. What happens when they don't?
Based on a true story.
Police looking for John Gacy.
We discovered bodies. By the looks of it, they're younger men.
The things he did to those kids. He's sick.
The system failed these families.
Devil in Disguise, John Wayne Gacy. Streaming now, only on Peacock.
Do you know how many there are?
Up to you to find out.
Finished training for the day? Time to fight post-workout fatigue with Core Power Protein Shakes. They're packed with 26 grams of high-quality protein to build muscle and electrolytes to help hydrate. The nutrition you need to help your body replenish, rebuild, and repair post-workout so you can power on to the next one. Champion your recovery with Core Power. Visit corepower.com to learn more.
Optimism isn't sunshine and rainbows. It's fixing things, changing the way we fix things. It's running the world on smarter energy. Because if optimism never stops, then change can't either. GE Vernova, the energy of change.
And though you will try to always get it right, the beauty of life lives inside of you. And I hope someday you find it too.
You've heard all the ads and seen the shops for CBD, and maybe you've wondered, what's the hype? Cannabidiol is known for its ability to provide non-habit-forming relaxation, and now you can have it in a convenient nasal spray. You can take it anywhere. Just go to simplyherbals.net. That's simplyherbals.net. And check out Dr. Scott's Buffered Saline CBD nasal spray. Just a couple of toots. You'll see why he's America's top CBD nasal spray. While you're there, check out his line of supplements from fatigue reprieve to stress less. Dr. Scott has it all. That's simplyherbals.net. Simplyherbals.net.
If you just read the bio for Dr. Steve, host of Weird Medicine on Sirius XM 103 and made popular by two really comedy shows, Opie and Anthony and Ron and Fez, you would have thought that this guy was a bit of, a clown.
Why can't you give me the respect that I'm entitled to?
I've got diphtheria crushing my esophagus. I've got Ebola virus dripping from my nose. I've got the leprosy of the heart valves, exacerbating my incredible woes. I want to take my brain out and blast it with the wave, an ultrasonic, echographic, and a pulsating shave. I want a magic pill for all my ailments, the health equivalent of Citizen Kane. And if I don't get it now in the tablet, I think I'm doomed and I'll have to go insane. I want a requiem for my disease, so I'm paging Dr. Steve.
Dr. Steve. Take a scalpel. Do the vertebrae. I need some suction. And the carotid.
It's wow, what an intro. It's Weird Medicine, the first and still only uncensored medical show in the history of broadcast radio, now a podcast. I'm Dr. Steve with my little pal, Dr. Scott, the traditional Chinese medicine provider, gives me street cred, the whack alternative medicine assholes. Hello, Dr. Scott.
Hey, Dr. Steve.
And, that's all we got today. It's just you and me.
It's old school.
Hey, before we go any further, we are not your medical providers. Take anything you hear with a grain of salt. Don't act on anything you hear on this show without talking over with your healthcare provider. If you want to send in a question, send it to... what is that? 347-POO-HEAD. 347-POO-HEAD. And you can leave us a question. And of course, I'm temporizing because I forgot to bring up the script. And I forgot to bring up 347-POO-HEAD. So
you're doing this all from memory. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Well, after 20-some years of reading the same bullshit.
You'd think somewhere in that brain it'd be a...
Well, we do have your phone calls. Don't forget to check out Dr. Scott's website at simplyherbals.net. That's simplyherbals.net. Do you still have the CBD nasal spray since we just did an ad for it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
absolutely.
Good deal. All right. All right, my friend. Well, I've got a couple of news stories. And, since we recorded last, this business with the RFK thing happened. Mm-hmm. Talking about Tylenol. So I thought what we could do is maybe talk about the RFK announcement. What did he say? And, what is the controversy about it? Because the controversy is wild. Mm-hmm. Basically, I'm going to just read the last part of his statement. It said the FDA also recognized acetaminophen, and we're talking about Tylenol, is often the only tool for fevers and pain in pregnancy, as other alternatives have well-documented adverse effects. And he's talking about ibuprofen and things like that, that if you take it too close to pregnancy, you can mess the kid's heart up. Mm-hmm. It says, Health and Human Services wants, therefore, to encourage clinicians to exercise their best judgment in the use of acetaminophen for fevers and pain in pregnancy, and by prescribing the lowest effective dose for the shortest necessary duration, and only when treatment is required. That sounds... what is unreasonable about that?
I don't know.
Okay, so
we always try to give the lowest for the shortest period of time.
If you look at the label on the Tylenol bottle, it says, we'd have to pull it up exactly what the wording is, but they don't recommend that pregnant women take this stuff. When Tacey was pregnant, mm-hmm. and every other person that I know, they don't drink, they don't take any medication that they don't have to take. That's just part of pregnancy. And they're just, I don't see what's unreasonable about that. I distilled some of this down. Mm-hmm. And there are data pro and con.
Okay.
So there was a link between prenatal acetaminophen exposure and neurodevelopmental risks in several studies. There were meta-analyses of large cohort studies. And I remember a meta-analysis is when you take a bunch of studies and put them all together and crunch the data. And there was one meta-analysis of 73,881 mother-child pairs. And it indicated that children that were exposed to acetaminophen prenatally were 19% more likely to exhibit borderline or clinical autism spectrum condition symptoms, and 21% more likely to exhibit ADHD symptoms. Now, a different meta-analysis reported a pooled risk ratio of 1.34, which made a 34% increase for ADHD and a 19% increase for autism spectrum disorder. So several studies noted a dose-response pattern, and that one of those was a cord plasma study where they took the umbilical cord and extracted fluid from it, blood, and looked at it for acetaminophen, if it contained acetaminophen, because it would have been recent exposure by the mom. And they found significantly increased risks of childhood ADHD and ASD in a dose-response fashion. In other words, the higher the amount in the cord blood, the more likely it was that they would find. This one, to me, was the strongest.
Okay.
They were biologically plausible, linked possibly to acetaminophen influencing oxidative stress or the endocannabinoid system, that's involved in pain and stress and stuff. And, endocrine disruption pathways vital for fetal brain development. Now, there is data against this.
Okay.
So we've got to be fair and we've got to look at everything because I'm not pushing one thing or the other.
Right.
When I think my conclusion at the end of this is going to be very reasonable, that's going to be difficult to argue with because it'll be wishy-washy.
Let's don't pick a side.
I know. Well, there's no side. The only side is the side of the mother and the child.
Right.
That's the side we should be on.
And being reasonable.
Yes. Now, it says the main argument against a causal link lies in the issue of confounding familial factors. associations seen in conventional studies may be misleading because mothers who use Tylenol during pregnancy often have underlying health conditions like pain or migraine or genetic predispositions like for ADHD that are themselves risk factors for neurodevelopmental disorders. So what they got to do is they need to correct for that to have a true cohort. Because maybe women that took more acetaminophen had genetic predispositions that would have the kid, if they did not taken the Tylenol, the kids would have had ASD or ADHD anyway.
Right.
They did this sibling control analysis where they compared exposed and unexposed children within the same family to control for shared genetics and socioeconomic factors. This is a good idea. And they found kids in the same household that weren't exposed to Tylenol. I'm sure they had to really search for this because if you're a mother that's taking Tylenol during pregnancy, you probably took it during pregnancy for all of your kids.
Yep.
So they had to search for people where one kid was not exposed and one was. And they found that the observed associations disappeared entirely. So there was a Swedish cohort study of 2.5 million children, found no evidence that acetaminophen use increased risk of autism. Actually, the ratio is 0.98. So it'd be at 0.02%, probably not statistically significant, protection almost in sibling comparisons. Furthermore, established medical bodies recognize acetaminophen as the safest first-line analgesic in pregnancy, noting that untreated high fever poses its own risks. So no one's saying don't take it. And this large cohort study, I don't know what their bias was. That's the thing. Were they biased toward just saying no? We don't agree. I mean, that's not how science works.
No,
you don't go Tylenol is bad. Therefore, let's look for data that proves that Tylenol is bad.
Unless there's funding to help to encourage that. Encourage the findings.
Yeah. The pharmaceutical industry does have a bias that they want their it's anti-scientific in the sense that they come up with a drug and they do science to get there.
Right.
But then they are biased that they want to get this thing approved.
Yes, absolutely.
So there is that.
There's $100 million worth of wanting at least.
$100 million?
At least.
You're talking, at least.
At least $100 million.
That's for the simplest drug.
Yeah.
So anyway, my conclusion, based on the most robust contemporary evidence, and this is by God, this is on our website. If you go to drsteve.com, look for the most recent posts if you want to pick some of this stuff up. The statistical association between prenatal acetaminophen use and neurodevelopmental disorders is likely attributable to unmeasured familial confounding rather than a direct causal effect. Nonetheless, because of the persistent concern, current recommendations remain focused on prudent use. Pregnant individuals should use acetaminophen only when medically necessary and at the lowest effective dose and for the shortest duration possible, which is what the manufacturer says and which is what RFK also said. They show, the sound bites. You have to look at the whole thing. I've got the whole transcript. If you want to read the whole transcript, it's on our website.
Gotcha.
Okay. drsteve.com.
There you go.
So we're dipping into controversy. It's not controversial to take the lowest amount of medication possible for the least amount of time. We do that with all medications.
With every single one of them. That's right.
Yeah. We don't just clonk people.
Take the most you can.
Right.
In
of
fact,
anything.
Yes, take all of it. Take the whole bottle while you're at it. That's not how this works.
And if there is any association whatsoever, and I'm not saying that there is because the familial study is pretty it's a pretty good study, but those other meta-analyses are as well. So, but if there's any concern whatsoever, why wouldn't you take the least amount for the least amount of time?
Right, it's got all of these things are to me it's like having a big cake. It's got 100 different pieces in it.
Yes,
you can't.
You want to eat the whole thing.
Just
yeah,
one bite at a time.
There you go.
Done. Let's not go too crazy.
All right. And there are medications that are absolutely contraindicated in pregnancy. Like, it's the most extreme being something like thalidomide. Mm-hmm. You would tell women, do not take this medication.
Mm-hmm. Or meth,
Yeah, meth.
Heroin, maybe.
Meth scabs, but I like. They're crunchy.
Yeah, But there are a lot of drugs that you shouldn't take.
Yes, of course.
Just have some, and you said it 1 million times in here, moderation. Everything in moderation, including moderation.
Right.
Literally.
I want to remind everyone to go to stuff.drsteve.com and pick up a copy of DABBLEDICE. I'm retiring from the dabbleverse altogether.
Uh-oh.
And so all of our dabbleverse related products, games, Wet Brain, DABBLEDICE are all on sale for cost. It's what you're getting it for is what I paid for it, because I got to get out of this.
I was going to say that's brand new because I tripped over 17 boxes of it coming up.
Yes, so I got to get rid of them.
Got to get rid of that. Yes, please.
But they were selling fine, and I had a decent profit margin on it, selling them for $10, so they cost me $3.50 or something like that. When you include shipping from China.
You're right on. Yep.
And that's what I'm selling them for, is $3.50. And then the Wet Brain, those were expensive. I used to sell them for $25 or $30 so I could make $5 or something.
Yeah.
So I'm selling them for $20. And once they're gone, they'll be gone. Wet Brain, I've only got a few left. DABBLEDICE, I got plenty of those. So if you want to give them out,
get them now, baby.
For your
Christmas
friends at Christmas,
that's
you can
right.
buy 10 of them.
It's the perfect Christmas gift. I've never seen a
It is a fun party game.
It's a fun party game.
All right. I wanted to, Dr. Scott, herpes is bad, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, the herpes virus itself can be used in cancer treatment. And I'm putting up on the screen, but for people who are not watching this video, a mechanism of inducing anti-tumor immunity. It's pretty cool. So they have these genetically modified herpes viruses, and they selectively infect and replicate in tumor cells.
Mm-hmm.
And then the infected tumor cells undergo cell lysis. In other words, they break apart, and they have immunogenic cell death, and that involves alterations in the composition of the cell surface, and they express different proteins like calreticulin, and there's release of damaged associated models and ATP and other things like that. And then these changes recruit and interact with receptors expressed on cells that recruit them to the tumor site, to white blood cells and stuff, to process and present tumor antigens to other cells, which then go, hey, what the hell? These things aren't supposed to be here.
Mm-hmm.
So the virus starts this cascade that causes the white blood cells to now be able to recognize the tumor, and then they just go in and kill the whole thing. So this, genetically modified herpes virus,
mm-hmm.
little, I've seen I Am Legend. It's a little bit scary, but the ability of these things to infect tumor cells and not cause herpes is pretty incredible.
Pretty awesome.
So, it just goes to show you can learn something from anything, and you can use almost anything as a tool if it's used correctly. Heroin was developed as a pain medication for cancer.
Yep.
It just got out of hand.
Just got like a lot of other things.
Right. And so we're not using it anymore for pain, but we could.
Well, cocaine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, cocaine's a hell of a drug.
It's a hell of a drug.
And we use it in ear, nose, and throat to dilate nasal passages when you're sticking and numb them up. So while you're sticking a fiber optic tube down your throat, through your nose.
It's crazy.
I've told that story multiple times.
Oh, it's crazy.
How we did that in medical school and didn't realize that the blue solution on these cotton pledgets that we were saturating them with was cocaine.
Yep. And you kept wanting to do your nose more and more and more.
Yes. No, well, we did. It was like if it were you and me, you were my lab partner.
Mm-hmm.
I would take the blue solution, soak the cotton pledget, put it in with these long forceps on both sides.
Okay.
Oh, no, that's not right. I would just do one side because I was just going to stick the fiber optic scope down one side to look at your vocal cords.
Gotcha.
And then we'd let it sit there for a few minutes while you're absorbing cocaine into your system. Then I would pull it out, do the procedure, and then you would do it on me.
Okay.
And then I would do it again on you.
Okay.
And then you would do it again on me. You see where this is going?
I do. My turn.
So we did it like 5 or 6 times. And by the end of it, we were high as a kite on cocaine, pharmaceutical cocaine, and didn't know it.
Yeah.
And I remember going down to do afternoon rounds, and it was like, why is round so much fun today?
How crazy is that?
It was nuts. Now they use phenylephrine more than they do the methyl eccogonine or whatever it is. The chemical name for cocaine. What is it?
I don't know.
It's methyl eccogonine or something like that. Chemical name for cocaine. Let's see. It is, methyl 1R, 2R, 3S, 5S, 3-benzoyl, 8-methyl azabacyclooctane carboxylate. Well, that's not what I want. Anyway.
That's why they call it cocaine.
Yeah. Right. Hence the name.
Yes, hence the name.
Well, anyway. All right. I can't find it.
It's a hell of a drug.
It is. And, to the point where we did it that one time, and one of my lab partners was conspiring to steal it from the ENT lab. And I'm like, dude, you did this one time, and you're willing to do something that may end up with you losing your
everything.
Yeah, losing your career. One time. Jeez. And he was willing to risk losing his career. And that's something. Fortunately, he didn't do it.
Thank goodness, yes.
All right.
Tonight, turn down the noise of the day and focus on the rest with AGZ, the nightly drink for winding down and resting up. New from AG1. AGZ supports your body's natural sleep cycle with clinically studied key herbs, adaptogens, and minerals in amounts supported by research. And no melatonin, helping you wake feeling rested. Wind down, rest up with AGZ. Learn more at drinkagz.com.
This episode is brought to you by Greenlight. Get this. Adults with financial literacy skills have 82% more wealth than those who don't. From swimming lessons to piano classes, us parents invest in so many things to enrich our kids' lives. But are we investing in their future financial success? With Greenlight, you can teach your kids financial literacy skills like earning, saving, and investing. And this investment costs less than that after-school treat. Start prioritizing their financial education and future today with a risk-free trial at greenlight.com/Spotify. Greenlight.com/Spotify.
Ford was built on the belief that the world doesn't get to decide what you're capable of. You do. So ask yourself, can you or can't you? Can you load up a Ford F-150 and build your dream with sweat and steel? Can you chase thrills and conquer curves in a Mustang? Can you take a Bronco to where the map ends and adventure begins? Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. Ready, set, Ford.
Icy Hot Pro with 2 max strength pain relievers. Targets multiple pain receptors. Ice works fast, heat makes it last.
Your earbud fell in a coffee cup. You need a taco pick-me-up. When modern life gets rough, grab the timeless taste you love. Paso, the old El Paso.
By the way, I just noticed ORS at the movies sent 5 Weird Medicine memberships. If you want to join us in the waiting room, the Fluid family meets at youtube.com/@weirdmedicine. It's youtube.com/@weirdmedicine. Click join and click accept gifted memberships. And then when Myrtle or ORS at the movies decides to give out memberships, they're only 99 cents. And what you get for that is not very much. You get what you pay for. But when I do sit down and do a video, it goes up members only first. You know, I want to produce more video content, and I'm paralyzed right now. You know, my son is paralyzed. He graduated first in his class, and he just can't get started taking the next step in his life because his brain exploded at the very end. And because that last class, he wasn't sure if he was going to get an A, and it would have screwed up his 4.0 GPA.
Right.
And now he's just like, kind
of stuck.
Yeah, he's stuck. Yeah. But he'll be okay. Once he gets going and takes that first step, I told him the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. And it's just a cliche, but it's true. And I gotta help him get there. But I am similarly paralyzed because I'm just having a hard time getting up here and doing the work I need to do. How long have I been talking about swapping this computer out?
You don't want me to.
I know. It's been like a year.
But here's the thing about
look at the date on this box. It's sitting right here. Go ahead.
Here's the thing about which is the beauty in what your son's going through right now. And what he's going to do in the future, this is actually going to help him.
November 11, 2024.
So you didn't want me to tell you it's been a year, but it's been a year. But the truth is, what he's going through right now is going to help him when he becomes a sports psychologist, because he's going to be able to say, look, guys, I was right where you are. I was stuck. Here's the process that got me stuck. It was my crazy life or my crazy expectations or whatever. Whatever, and this is what you're going through, and here's how I got through it, and
here's why you can't make a free throw to save your life. Yeah.
Well, and you'll remember, but where we live, there was a guy named Del Murphy came through with the Atlanta Braves 100 years ago.
Okay,
he's in the Hall of Fame, and he was an outstanding catcher, and then he got to where he couldn't throw the ball to second base.
Yeah,
so they moved him to outfield. Steve Sachs, he was a second baseman for the Dodgers. He got to where when he'd catch a ball at second base, he'd throw it up into the stands.
What?
He would throw it he couldn't throw it to the first baseman, and he had to work through these things.
Wow.
I was trying to think of who the pitcher was for the Cubs. It literally could not throw for like 3 years. He could not throw the ball from pitcher's mound, the pitcher's rubber, to first base.
Really?
He couldn't throw it. No, he'd have to come set, and those guys would run on him all day long, and he'd step off, and they did a bunch of things to help him, but he could not in his brain make himself take that step. It's crazy.
It is interesting. It's all a mental. These things are very mental game oriented. When we were coaching archers, the guy that coached me, his name was anyway. He was 10-time national indoor champion, so you can look him up.
Yeah.
But we would use this release called a Stanislavski release.
Okay.
And basically, when you're in position, you would rotate this thing back toward your ear, and at some point, and at a random point, it will release. And the reason it's random is because you don't want to anticipate it. You just want to concentrate on rotating that thing backward. Now, we would have people that couldn't shoot. All of a sudden, they couldn't shoot. And they were all over the place. They used to be able to hit the X in the center of the target every time, and now they're just shooting, fours and threes and all this stuff. And so what my coach would do is, excuse me, he had a Stanislavski that only clicked, it didn't release. Right? So you would take this little string and you would hook it onto this hook, and then you would pull it back, and when you rotated it, it would click, but the arrow wouldn't fly. He wouldn't tell people that's what it was. He'd say, here, use this release. And so they would get up there and they would draw back and rotate this thing, and when it clicked, they go like that, and the bow would go up in the air, and they would be way off the target, and that was what it was. So he would get them to sit there and work with this thing and click so it's to the point where they didn't move anymore.
Wow.
After this thing clicked, and then he would put the regular Stanislavski back on, and it could take weeks for some people.
Wow.
And then they would hit the target again. It was really cool.
Yep.
The other thing that we would do is put people like 1 foot in front of the target so they wouldn't be afraid that they would miss. And then you can work them back and back and back until they were back in it again. And it was all mental stuff.
Wow. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah,
Fascinating, but anyway. All right. Well,
unbelievable.
You want to take a couple phone calls?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Let me see here. Oh, Stacy, I'm not doing that one. All right.
Hi, Dr. Steve. This is Phil from Tampa. I hope you and the gang are doing well.
Hey, thanks.
I'm calling because I have a question about exercising and hydration.
Okay.
Every morning, probably like 5 or 6 days a week, I walk my neighborhood, and it's, maybe just over 2 miles to Big Circle. But while I'm on that circle, I usually bring 2 water bottles to make sure that I'm hydrating, just normal,
Sure.
bottles you get from the store. But often on those mornings, I see people jogging and sweating a lot, and they are carrying no fluids, no water, Gatorade, nothing. And every time I see that, I think, like, this is crazy, right? Like, they look like they could use, like, I just kind of power walk. Like, if I could probably go the time without the thing, but I know that they're doing, like, multiple miles. And I'm just curious, like, am I wrong? Are they doing something better? Should I not drink as much water on my walks in the morning?
I don't think he is wrong. What do you think?
No, I don't think so at all.
What exercise physiologists recommend is 16 to 20 ounces of water, 2 to 3 hours before exercise. If you just get up, you can't. It's hard to do that.
Yep.
But if you're in hot or humid conditions, they recommend it, something with electrolytes in it. Now, during exercise, and you'll see these marathon runners, look, who are the most elite runners in the world? They're the marathon runners, right?
Yep.
They're drinking at those stations.
Yeah, every chance to get in.
They recommend 7 to 10 ounces of water every 10 to 20 minutes. And if you're exercising for more than an hour, they recommend, something with electrolytes in it. It could be Gatorade. There are other sports drinks that may be even better. And then after, you have to, do the repair.
Yep.
Now, I read an article once that was really surprising. It said that after you run, instead of muscle milk and stuff like that chocolate milk is just as good as anything.
Okay.
Which, I don't have any data on that. But sports drinks or electrolyte-rich beverages after exercise. And then there are some supplements that you can do as well. Some people recommend arginine to increase nitric oxide and increase the pumps, to do that before exercise. And when Liam was doing long distance running, I did a lot of research on this stuff. But anyway, you're the sports guy. So what do you think? That's just my scientific sort of protocol.
I think
he's power walking.
But he's seeing people running that they're probably hydrating in a different way, or they have some stuck in their pants, maybe, somewhere.
Stuck in their pants.
Or their shirt or something. But, there's you have to hydrate.
Right.
I mean, and that's, if you're an elite athlete and you've got your body trained to where it only needs a certain amount of fluids, I mean, there's a really good chance they're preloading with those with those
Yep.
electrolytes.
You can change your body. The Sherpas are a great
perfect
example of that.
Yep.
You know, they can do things that we can't do because they're acclimated to it.
And I would say don't do what they're doing. Do what you need to do, which is
right.
Yeah, power walk and use your hydration, use your water.
What I'm going to say, dude, is how about this? Mind your own business.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. But don't worry about what they're doing.
Don't worry about them.
You're doing the right thing.
Yep. After you hydrate or after you exercise, it's also really important while you're hydrating to stretch after you run.
Yes.
Because that way the muscles and the fascia are warmed up already. It makes it a little bit easier to stretch them and get a good flushing of some of the waste tissues that are produced while you're exercising.
Yeah.
So hydrate for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think you can. I mean, unless you have congestive heart failure, it'd be difficult to overhydrate. Well, you can make yourself sick.
Well, the only overhydration you would have, you will see it sometimes.
I see people vomiting.
Well, vomiting, but if they have hypokalemia. So if they drink
low potassium,
if they drink way too much water, like if they're out in a desert or something, they drink too much water, they can overhydrate technically, but that's hard.
Hyponatremia.
Low
sodium.
Hyponatremia. Hyponatremic. I'm sorry, I said kalemia. Hyponatremic. Yeah.
Yep.
That's the only thing, but it's really hard to do.
Yeah.
Is to drink that much water.
All right, let's try this one.
Yes. Good morning, Dr. Steve. This
Good morning.
is Daniel.
Hey, Daniel.
And it is Monday, the 29th of September.
Okay.
2014.
I'm concerned about trying to assist with the new fund I just watched on the podcast.
Okay. Oh, gosh.
Assuming this is the proper Dr. Steve that I'm reaching.
Yeah.
I understand there's a way to assist.
Yeah. Okay. We're doing these blind. So he's calling about the GoFundMe for Carl and for WATP and TSN to help them with legal fees. They're being sued in a civil case. Mm-hmm. So it's not a criminal case; it's a civil case, and the fees are insane. Mm-hmm. And so far, people have donated like $30,000. So, this was coordinated, obviously, with everyone involved. I couldn't have done it otherwise, and particularly with the defendant's attorney, who is the beneficiary. So any money that goes in goes directly to the attorney. I don't touch it. Mm-hmm. TSN, WATP don't touch it. But if you want to learn more about it and check it out, go to fightthedabbler.com. Fightthedabbler.com. All right. Let's see here.
Hello. I have a stupid question.
It's not stupid.
Do babies have kneecaps? If you say no, my mind is blown.
Why would I say no? They don't have fully developed kneecaps at birth. They have this thing called a patellar cartilage plate, and it's soft and flexible, and it's a placeholder for a future kneecap because a kneecap is kind of what we would call a sesamoid bone. It forms in, soft tissue.
What's a lot like the skull?
Right.
After you pass through the birth
Correct.
canal, it starts to fuse. Yeah.
When the baby grows, that plate turns into bone. Mm-hmm. And that takes place between the ages of 2 and 6. So if that blows your mind,
there you go.
There you go.
Have at it. Mind blown.
All right. Let's see. Okay. Let's see this one. We're doing these blind today because I didn't have time to review them.
Hello, Dr.
Oh, and if you want to leave a question, it's 347-766-4323 or 347-POOHEAD.
I might have asked you this question before. If I did, I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. It's okay.
When someone is extubated, or rather intubated, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Why do they?
Okay, so intubated, he's talking about if you have respiratory failure and they need to take a tube and put it down into your trachea so they can breathe for you. They hook you up to a mechanical ventilator that puts air in and then allows you to exhale, against a little bit of pressure. Keep your airway open.
You have to be extubated within, I've heard 10 to 13 or 15 days. Otherwise, you have to have a trach.
Yep. That's a great question.
What's going on there? What causes that? Why does that have to be?
I love this question because it's one that a lot of people have questions about, and it's also a nice, good, basic science question. So what he's asking is, when they intubate you, if you have respiratory failure, let's say you have the covert, like my mother-in-law calls it, and you can't breathe, and they take a tube and put it down into your throat and down into your airway to breathe for you. Well, if that tube doesn't, if there's any slack around it, if they just push the air in, it's just going to turn around and come right back out, against the side of the tube. Right. Because it's like a,
it needs to be snuggish.
Yeah, it's got to be snug. It has to make contact. So there's a balloon on the end of it. So when you shove that tube in, the last thing you do is that you inflate this balloon, and and it makes contact with the trachea all the way around circumferentially, so that when you put air in there under pressure, it goes into the lungs where it's supposed to and doesn't escape.
Right, and it doesn't come right back out the mouth.
Correct. Now, because you're putting pressure against the trachea, you are putting pressure on the mucous membrane of the trachea. And when you do that, you're pushing blood supply away from it. And it turns out that around 14 days is the limit, because the lack of blood supply of the trachea will eventually cause that mucous membrane to die, and then you get a hole in your trachea and you're way worse off. You get a tracheoesophageal fistula or whatever. And it's not good. No. So they'll say 14 days, it's got to be pulled out. If you still need mechanical support, then they will use tracheostomy, and they'll put a hole in your, in the cartilage in the front of your neck and put a tube in there. And that you can have forever.
Wow. Good question. Good question.
That is an excellent question. Thank you, my friend. All right. Well, I don't have the script up, so we can do without it anyway. Listen, I appreciate everyone's support, and thank you for listening to Weird Medicine over the years, and we're going to be doing some new and different things, and I promise eventually I will redo this studio so that we can do kind of a more peppy, more organized show, and I won't be quite so slow on the uptake on everything. But anyway, I'm trying to juggle a lot of things, and it's my 70-year-old brain. It's hard to do these days. But anyway, don't forget Dr. Scott's website at simplyherbals.net, simplyherbals.net for the best CBD nasal spray in the universe. And check out stuff.drsteve.com for Wet Brain and the Roadie robotic tuner. That's still there. The holiday season is coming. The Roadie robotic tuner is the great gift for anyone who plays guitar, bass, or any other stringed instrument, except maybe orchestral instruments. I don't think it'll tune a violin, but standard stringed instruments, yes. All right, my friend. Anything from you?
No, sir.
All right, thanks for coming today.
Yep.
And 7-3, as we say in ham radio. And until next time, check your stupid nuts, quit smoking, get off your asses, get some exercise. We'll see you in 1 week for the next edition of Weird Medicine. Thanks, everybody.